A lot of people have asked me about it over the past couple months. Been asked to kind of do a talk on this, kind of background why I've volunteered to do this. I've been active in the open source community for almost 15 years now. I use entirely open source software when I get a chance. My own network is entirely run on open source, and I have contributed to a handful of open source projects. And I am a real believer in the power of open source and what it can do for you and what hopefully you can do for it. So today, like I said, I'm going to give you an overview of open source. We're going to talk a little bit about why you might want to open source your project, some of the concerns that you might have when you do so, what does it mean, and how do you do it. So, before we get started, got to have the beginning slide here. I'm not a lawyer. We're going to talk about legal contracts. Open source licenses, as with all licenses, are contracts. Everything I'm saying today, I believe is true to the best of my knowledge. Don't sue me for it. Alright? As I said, CYA slide. Alright. What is open source good for? You know, obvious thing that everyone likes, it's free. Yeah, free is always good. When you find an open source project that almost does what you want, well, if you find a project that almost does what you want, a lot of times you're stuck with almost doing what you want. If it's open source, you have the right, if you have the skills, you have the right to modify it to fit your needs exactly. When you have an open source project, you have more people than working on it than you would have in a similar other project. This means that people can bring differing skills to advance it quicker, different directions. Communities grow up around open source projects. That's great for if you need help. I'm working with an open source project, I'm stuck. I can't figure out how to do something. I can't figure out how to make it do what I want. A lot of times there's been someone who's been in my exact same situation that knows how to make this work. A lot of times, even if there isn't anyone who's been in this situation, I can go talk to the person who wrote it. And that's extremely powerful. Both in personal life and at work. I use open source at work, and it's great that sometimes I can say, I don't know how this is supposed to work. You wrote it, tell me how it works. Or how it's supposed to work here. You get a lot of people who know what they're talking about working with open source. You get a lot of best-in-breed products. In my day life, my day job, is configuration management. I know how to build software. I can contribute those ideas that I learned and best practices that I learned at work to open source software.